And due to circumstances beyond my control, we are back for this Tuesday, 19th day of March 2024. In case you're curious, 33 weeks from today, General Election Day, November 5th. I just thought I'd throw that out there. I, for one, can't wait. Another beautiful morning, another beautiful day in store for the Wenatchee Valley. Tied a record high on Monday, have a very good chance of breaking another record high today. The entire western United States is bathed in sunshine. Things are going to start changing a little bit on Wednesday in a big way. On Thursday, it can't last forever, and it's not going to last forever, but it's looking pretty darn good for the next couple of days. So 2 more days of, well, today for sure. Wednesday, still some sunshine, and then things are going to change a little bit. Could even see some rain. Temperatures are going to drop right back down to where they should be this time of the year. So forecast details will always take center stage and gets to go first because the weather is the one thing that everybody is affected by. News, yes, sports. Things are not looking good for the Kraken. You're supposed to win home games. They've lost 5 consecutive games now. Buffalo did them in and did them in good last night in Seattle. We'll have highlights of that. Preview tonight's big soccer match at Lee Bofta Field at the Apple Bowl for the local high school soccer teams. The non-league schedule is over. It's all league games from here for the rest of the regular season. And wouldn't you know it, it's Wenatchee hosting Eastmont. We'll have that for you tonight. Looking forward to that. We'll preview that. And it is almost the first day of spring. The vernal equinox is tonight at 8:06. It's actually 1 day earlier because we had a leap day this year. Normally it's March 20th. This year it's March 19th, and that means Bonnie Orr will be joining me. We went up to the demonstration garden for the Washington State University Master Gardeners up there at Springwater and Western and taped with Bonnie for the first day of spring, which isn't actually really the first full day of spring is tomorrow, but we don't care. It's spring. Spring's everywhere. So anyway, good show for you today. Let's take our tour around the valley. Sunrise is just about now. 7:04, about a minute or so away. Sunset tonight, 7:13. We're still gaining about 3 minutes of daylight a day. That's 12 hours and 9 minutes of daylight. For the record, yesterday we hit 70 up at Pangbourne Memorial Airport. That's where they measure these things. He has to be someplace, and Pangbourne is where it is. And that ties the record high for March 18th, which was also 70 degrees back in 1978. Ephrata set a record high yesterday. Omak set a record high yesterday. So we almost set a record high last Saturday. We did set a record high on Sunday, tied the record high yesterday, and we're going to set a record high today. It looks pretty good on that. Good morning to the Wenatchee Valley. Good morning to Leavenworth. Outside of a couple of little patches here and there, the snow is all but gone. Up in the Leavenworth area, it always takes a little longer for the snow to dissipate. Good morning to the Bavarian village of Leavenworth, looking beautiful from our camera just before you pop on into the Tumwater Canyon on Highway 2. The Hay Canyon camera is always a favorite. High atop Hay Canyon, looking almost right back towards the Wenatchee Valley, we can see almost all of Cashmere as the sun begins to creep up. It is looking good. We love you, Cashmere. Thanks for starting your day with us. I mentioned Leavenworth still has some patches of snow. Obviously, Lake Wenatchee has quite a bit of snow. You can see the golf course down below. It is melting, but it's certainly taking its sweet time. And it looks like the ice is all but dissipated from Lake Wenatchee, and the snow continues to recede. That's absolutely one of my favorite cameras up Lake Wenatchee way. Gorgeous stuff there. It is going to start changing a little bit tomorrow. As far as winds around here, Wednesday night into Thursday morning is our best chance of winds. This is not sustained winds. This is peak gusts. And this is because that big ridge of high pressure that's been dominating our weather for about the last 5 days is going to start breaking down. It's also going to move out of the area, and that's going to allow for a pretty active trough of cool air to come down from the Gulf of Alaska. It's going to start paying us a visit really on Thursday. We're going to drop about a good 10 degrees between today to Thursday as far as our high temperature. Our overnight lows are going to be pretty steady because we're going to start clouding up a little bit, so we're not going to get real cold, but we're certainly going to cool off back down to normal, and a little wind expected Wednesday and Thursday in some of our viewing area. From the National Weather Service, here we go. Our record high temperature for today, March 19th, 68 degrees. Set back in 1999, it looks like we're going to be breaking that by a pretty good dose, too, with a high of 73. And again, lots of sunshine today. Clear tonight, 44 for the overnight low. We start ticking down temperature-wise on Wednesday. We'll have a few high clouds in the morning, but as the day progresses, the clouds will be rolling in, and that's going to keep the sun from making a real big impact as far as the temperature is concerned. And by the end of the day, by sunset Wednesday, we will have cloudy skies. By the way, the record high tomorrow was 70 degrees. Set back in 1960. Don't think we're going to get there. Cloudy and a little breezy on Wednesday night. Overnight low of about 43. Sunny. A little wind at times on Thursday with a high of 61. That's still well above normal. Still cloudy Thursday night, 44 for the overnight low. And then the sun's going to be taking Friday and Saturday off with a slight chance of rain, and we cool down to 59. And then to about normal with a pretty good chance of rain on Saturday. Saturday rain will probably be relegated to the morning hours. We should be dry by Saturday afternoon. And we'll only get up to 56 degrees by Sunday. Actually right about normal, 55. Snow level is going to be well above the Wenatchee Valley area. So we're still, we're looking above normal temperatures even as we head into the weekend, but just a couple of degrees above normal to near normal as opposed to record high temperatures. So we're going to see just about a 20-degree drop in our high temperatures between today and Sunday. That's the forecast at 6 minutes after the hour. What made the news on Monday? We'll let you know in 2 minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
A ductless unit from Carrier can keep anyone comfortable. Take Shelly, for instance. She finds me time in her new attic-turned-home gym. And with her Carrier ductless unit, the temperature is always perfect. No matter how intense her workout gets. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Alpine Air. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
The madness has started at the National RV Show, being hosted once again at the Grant County Fairgrounds, March 14th through the 18th.
Top manufacturers are coming from across the country,
like Grand Design, Flagstaff, Thor, Forest River, and SMC Horse Trailers.
Banks on site with super low interest rates.
0 down and no payments till July. Enter to win $30,000 in cash or a new 2023 StarCraft trailer. No purchase necessary. Shoot the basket and get an additional $500 off after you make your deal. The National RV Show has Grand Design, Flagstaff,
and more
at the Grant County Fairgrounds, March 14th through the 18th.
Global Car Care has the best customer service in the Valley. From the moment you walk in the door, their goal is to help you stay on the road, so you can keep doing what's important to you. Global Car Care certified ASE mechanics stand behind your automotive repairs.
Come see how very different you will feel in your Bullfrog Spa.
.43 degrees, gorgeous morning, another beautiful day today. We'll be in the lower 70s, going to set a record high for this date. We cooled down a little bit on Wednesday and cloud up a little bit on Wednesday, then we really cool down and cloud up by the time we get to the weekend. It's 8 minutes after the hour, just 3 years after the lines were drawn. Washington's legislative districts are being reorganized again, this time by a federal lawsuit. On Friday, District Judge Robert Lasnik adopted a map proposed by plaintiffs in a suit challenging the state's redistricting process, which alleged that new districts diluted the voting power of Latinos in the Yakima region. So the new map splits up north central Washington's 12th district. So East Wenatchee and a large part of Wenatchee, including the historic downtown district and Old Station, are now going to be into the 7th legislative district. The town of Rock Island and Payne-Bohr Memorial Airport, they're now going to be in the 13th district, which previously stopped at the Grant County line. Now, the remapping decision is likely to go to a federal appeals court, but not before Washington voters choose their legislators in November. Among the Washington lawmakers affected by the redistricting ruling is 12th District State Senator Brad Hawkins. He's running for a 3rd term this year, but he's going to have to move from East Wenatchee to Wenatchee to do so he can stay in the 12th District. Hawkins is one of 3 state senators, all Republicans, who were drawn out of their districts by the federal ruling. Hawkins is up for re-election in November, but he and his family currently live just outside of East Wenatchee. In a visit to our studios yesterday, Hawkins condemned the court's decision, but says he'll make the move so he can still work in the 12th District.
For me, if this happened 2 years ago, I would be like, okay, well, I'll just let the court system play out and appeal and see what the final decision is. But in this case with me, you know, you have to be, you have to live in your district in order and be a registered voter in that area in order to run for office. And so I am relocating my family to the Wenatchee area in early April, spring break. But yeah, it impacts a lot of us, and you know, it's really unfortunate. And not only does it impact like me in particular or these members in particular, it impacts their communities.
The suspect in a homicide that occurred in East Wenatchee just about a year ago is going to face some new criminal charges when he goes to trial next month. 31-year-old Eric Reyes has been in jail for about a year now after his arrest in the killing of 23-year-old Elias Mora Ontiveros, who was shot to death near Pangborn Memorial Airport in the spring of last year. Reyes was charged with second-degree murder and assault, while on Friday, Douglas County prosecutors amended the charges to add lesser, included felony counts, including first and second-degree manslaughter. Lesser included charges allow a jury to find a defendant guilty of a less serious crime if the evidence allows it. Reyes faces trial on April 23rd. The first of two hearings regarding the possible closure of Columbia Elementary School takes place this Thursday. At the Wenatchee High School Commons, public comments will only be accepted in person, will not be offered through Zoom, and speakers must complete a public comment form prior to speaking. English speakers will be allowed 3 minutes for comment. Spanish speakers, you'll get 7 minutes to accommodate for the Spanish interpretation provided by a certified Spanish interpreter. Signs, banners, and displays are prohibited before, during, and after the hearing, and speakers will not be allowed to donate their time to another person so that person can speak longer. The hearing will take place at the Wenatchee High School Commons beginning at 6 o'clock on Thursday. It's scheduled to run till 9 o'clock. It'll be live streamed on the district's YouTube channel with closed captioning options. The Washington State Department of Health has updated some of their guidance regarding COVID-19 and influenza. What do you do if you get sick with COVID or the flu or other respiratory viruses? Well, the new guidance recommends people stick with COVID-19. Recommends that people who are sick with COVID-19 return to normal activities when their symptoms are getting better overall and they have not had a fever without having to use a fever-reducing medication for at least 24 hours. Previous COVID-19 guidance recommended people isolate for at least 5 days after symptoms appeared. The new respiratory illness guidance also recommends staying away from high-risk people until you get a negative COVID-19 test for 10 days after symptoms of infection start, or for 10 days since testing positive for COVID-19 for people who never develop symptoms. DOH recommends taking extra precautions during the first 5 days after resuming normal activities, after you've had COVID-19, the flu, RSV, or other respiratory viruses, including wearing a mask and testing when you will be around others indoors. CMI Orchards and Royal Family Farming recently partnered to launch the Soil Center. It's a sustainable composting organization. Spearheading their Soil Center is newly appointed President John Cox. Our own Casey Safford caught up with Cox to discuss the Soil Center and its mission of promoting sustainable agriculture.
So the mission of the Soil Center really is to help advance regenerative and sustainable practices in agriculture. You know, we're really trying to basically take wastes that are different parts of our enterprise and repurpose them into soil amendments to get them back in the ground.
How do you see the Soil Center making a significant change in sustainable agriculture?
Oh, that's a great question. I think one of the big ones we can do is really affect the tree fruit industry. You know, with the tree fruit industry right now, when you have a tree or an orchard that you want to rip out or do something with, typically people pull them out and then burn the trees. And that's just kind of what people do. And so what we can do is we'll actually have a mobile wood chipping operation to go out and strongly encourage growers to stop that process. We're doing it with our partner growers to say, hey, we're not going to burn any trees anymore. So then we can take that wood and repurpose it through other different processes we have at the Soil Center into soil amendments.
Oh, that's great. So tell me, Now that the Soil Center has officially launched, what does the future entail? Are there any big projects on the horizon that you're eager to get started on?
Oh, absolutely. So we have a lot of big projects on the horizon. I mean, right now we're building out the system, you know, so as part of that, there's a next level compost unit we're putting in. So it's called an aerated static pile. It's a method of composting that'll really help us compost at next level, increase our throughput, increase the ability for us to compost and so forth. So that's going in, but that's a pretty big project to do the legwork to make that happen. So there's that, and there's also just other physical facility things we're trying to build out.
What are the ways that community members could get involved in this?
Oh, absolutely. So, you know, when there's waste that they want to compost, they can reach out. We're looking to bring that service online. That's probably not going to be online until next year, but basically to enable people to have a way to compost their compostable waste, because we'll be able to do it at a large scale, and that's one of the things that really brings strength to us. So they can do that, and then on the back end, you know, we're looking to also sell our compost to private individuals and to commercial farms.
So what would you say is the factor that makes the Soil Center stand out against similar organizations in that industry?
Worms.
Worms.
Worms. Worms is one of the big things we can do. We actually have the world's largest worm farm.
Oh, wow.
Right, and it's pretty, and some of the things we can do with that really make us unique.
Would you mind diving into that a little more?
Sure,
what kind of
sure.
things do you see happening with that?
So think of it like this. The worm farm exists mostly, we started the worm farm as a way to kind of help mitigate our waste at our dairy partners. And so what we found with that, essentially, think of the worm farm as a giant swimming pool for worms, okay?
Okay.
Right? And the
It's
top,
quite an image.
It's quite an image, right? But instead of water, it's got wood chips in there. Okay, so that goes back to the orchards. We can repurpose wood from the orchards and put it into our worm beds at our worm farm. So then what do we do with that? We use that as a filtration device for our dairy waste, and then that basically the worms will break down the liquid that's applied to it. And then what we can do on the back end, every year, every 18 months, we have to pull those wood chips out. So then we can take those wood chips, we can compost them, and they're rich with many nutrients, they're rich with worms, and we can use that to basically augment our compost.
And that is the news on this 19th day of March. If you're interested in what's happening around the region, and we have a suspicion that you do, watch the news tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, the NCW Life Evening News. On television at 5, 6, and 10. Online at 5 o'clock on our homepage, ncwlife.com, on our YouTube page. By the way, our YouTube page is now streaming all the time. It's also on our Facebook page and on our app. And if you haven't downloaded our app yet, you can go about doing it by picking up your smartphone and getting busy with the QR code. And if you have a news tip for us, get a hold of us. You can give us a call to the number you see on your screen, or better yet, send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Boy, the numbers are not adding up for the Seattle Kraken. Just when they needed a winning streak, they're going in the opposite direction. Highlights, if you will, with sports. It's next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I chose Pinnacles because they embrace and lift people with different learning styles.
It's a school where I can be myself, creative, and be successful.
There's a lot of hands-on activity, and
you get to really connect with the community here because we're all one. We get to see each other often. It's a small building.
The teachers care about you and make sure there is equity in the classroom.
They take care of them as a whole. They see them as a name, not a number.
Get the tax break you deserve this week at Walker's Furniture, as they offer a double sales tax discount or no money down special financing for up to 5 years with no minimum purchase.
There's no better time to freshen up your living room, dine in style, or get that bedroom set you've always wanted. Plus, get a double sales tax discount or up to 5 years special financing with no money down.
Making it the perfect time to max your tax return and spend less at Walker's.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house, fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza. Look at this.
This would look really good in the kitchen.
Or the living room. Just look at it.
New windows are a work of art. Upgrade your home's windows and get cash back from Chelan County PUD.
This is gonna look great in the house.
21 minutes after the hour, the Seattle Kraken didn't put up much of a fight. Last night, they have now lost 5 in a row, all at home. The Buffalo Sabres got the better of them yesterday, 6-2. Jordan Eberle scored just 24 seconds into the game, and then the Kraken went flat.
Out to center ice. The Kraken have 1 point to show in 4 games on this homestand, an overtime loss against the Vegas Golden Knights. Jordan Eberle, who's still 1 assist shy of 400. Tolvanen, Eberle, he scores! 24 seconds in. Jordan Eberle lights the lamp. The Kraken.
Dumoulin pinches in, but Jordan Eberle supports the pinch in by the D-man, and then no hesitation by Ebbs from our mid-delivery Supermo. What a start. What a play. Great defensive position, and he's rewarded on the offensive side.
I like Matty going to the net. It's a young but very solid and dynamic decor for Buffalo. Henry Jokiharju. Alex Tuck will take it back. Buffalo's coming off a 4-1 loss in Detroit to start the road swing Saturday. Tage Thompson with a goal. The Sabres rocket right back. Thompson had their only goal in the Motor City on Saturday. And now, 49 seconds in, Buffalo ties it. Goal came at 49 seconds. A steal. Andre Burakovsky off defensive sticks, one of those Skinner, then Peyton Krebs. Jeff Skinner gains the zone. Greenway for the front. A shot. He scores. Cleanly beat on the short side is Joey Decord. 2-1 Buffalo. It's early, but you know what? Bo Byram. Dahlin in the corner, far side, read by Dumoulin. Beniers tied up by Girgensons. Tage Thompson out to center. He'll gain the zone. Look around, threaded across. Tuck scores! 3-1. Now what? McCann will get the handle back. Eberle down low. He'll defer out to Tolvanen. Here's Schultz. Eli Tolvanen one-times it. Off the post. They score! A game of Plinko. Matty Beniers at the side of the goal. Taps it home. Drop it off for Peterka. His shot off the pipe. The rebound scores. Owen Power. In the right place at the right time off the metal. 9:24 left to go in the second period. 4-2 Buffalo. 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now you're right. You do have some building blocks on the back end.
Skinner scores. Jeff Skinner finds an opening. Rolled around for Tatar. Greenway. Skinner gets the hat trick. Jeff Skinner hits the back bar. His 7th career hattie.
Afterwards, in the locker room, Coach Dave Haxtell said the word of the night, frustration.
You know what? I don't think it's one specific point in the hockey game. You know, we had too many holes in our game tonight. You know, too much fluctuation up and down in the quality of of our play throughout the game, and I saw a little bit of frustration tonight. I think some of the carryover from maybe from the results that we've had previously this week, if we're being blunt and honest. This is the first time that I've seen frustration, come into or come onto our bench. Whether it happened quickly or throughout that first period. That's the first time I've seen that. So obviously we had the day yesterday, the day of practice. Obviously we weren't able to get that out, to flush it out, and it affected us today.
So the Kraken remain stuck at 68 points. They are now 11 points behind Vegas for that final wild card berth with just 15 games remaining. It ain't looking good. Speaking of that, the Kraken visit the Golden Knights on Thursday night. Baseball games that didn't count in the Cactus League yesterday. Nice victory for the Mariners. Julio Rodriguez has whipped himself into good game shape as we get ready for opening day. It's right around the corner. Mariners beat the world champions 9-5, but again, the game doesn't count. They'll take on a split squad Colorado team in Peoria at 1:10 this afternoon. For the prep high school soccer, the preseason, if you will, the non-league games are done. It's league games the rest of the way. And we got a big one tonight. It's Eastmont at Wenatchee, Lee Boffalo Field at the Apple Bowl. We'll have that for you here on the NCAA Live channel. It'll go in at 7 o'clock. Moses Lake welcomes Eisenhower to town at 7 o'clock. Earlier games have Quincy at Chelan at 4, Cashmere at Omak at 6. At 4:30 on the pitch, it's Brewster at Okanagan, Tenasket at Manson, and Pateros at Oroville. All of those get going at 4:30. We will be at Lee Boffalo Field at the Apple Bowl tonight. Looking forward to it. It is the Wildcats and the Panthers, two very good teams, will do battle. The handsome and talented Sebastian Moraga and the even more handsome and more talented Matt Wiesen. With the call pregame at 6:50, 7 o'clock kickoff. It'll be on TV, on our Facebook page, and streaming on our website. Baseball today, it is single games. Again, there are now league all the way home. Eastmont will be in Yakima, the gateway to Wapato, to take on Eisenhower at 4 o'clock. Moses Lake travels to Sunnyside for a 3 o'clock first pitch. At 4 o'clock, Ephrata will welcome Shadle Park. Lake Roosevelt will be hosting Okanagan. Brewster at Tenasket at, well, that's at 4:30, not 4:43. Typo there. And the prep softball schedule. Can't forget about the ladies. Wenatchee's at Ephrata at 4 o'clock. That's obviously non-leaguer. Bridgeport at Manson at 4. At 4:30, it's Okanagan welcoming Lake Roosevelt, and Tenasket welcomes Brewster to town at 4:30. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. Happy National Poultry Day today, and we love our chickens. We do. We eat a lot of them. Chickens eat a lot of everything. Chickens are omnivores. They'll pretty much eat anything that's put in front of them. Yeah, they'll eat seed, but they'll eat grain. They'll eat small mice if they're available. They don't care. They'll eat lizards. Basically, you put it in front of a chicken, and the chicken is going to eat it. There are more than 25 billion chickens on this planet. Chickens outnumber humans 3-to-1. Maybe it should be 4-to-1. I'm not sure. Chickens can fly, just not very far. They can fly just enough to hide in a tree or hop over a fence to avoid a predator. They just don't have a great flying ability. Chickens are descended from jungle fowl, which means chickens are distant relatives of dinosaurs, who also couldn't fly for the most part. I thought I'd throw that out there. Chickens dream. Chickens can dream, and they also sleep with half their brain. So one half of their brain is asleep, the other half is awake, so they can keep an eye out for predators. That's kind of interesting. The United States produces a lot of poultry. Last I checked, and this was yesterday, we crank out about over 24 million tons of poultry every year. China is number 2. They crank out about 21 million tons of poultry, and Brazil is the 3rd largest poultry producing country in the world. They crank out about 18 million tons of chickens every year. Happy National Poultry Day. I'll have an enchilada before this day is over. It's 28 minutes after the hour. Today in history, it was supposed to be the most powerful battleship ever constructed for the Confederacy. The USS Georgiana, which was built in Scotland, was on its way back on its maiden voyage, sailing from Scotland to the port of Charleston in South Carolina when the Georgiana ran into the blockade. The United States Navy had a blockade, couldn't really get through to Charleston, and the Navy bombarded the heck out of that ship until the captain said, "We quit." Navy backed off. They scuttled the ship. Everybody got off on board. Okay, it had munitions, medicines, supposedly gold. They never have found that. And merchandise valued at over $1 million, and that was in 1863 money when the thing went down. Exactly 102 years to the day that the SS Georgiana sunk, this guy, Lee Spence, found it. Now, what amazes me is that, first of all, Lee Spence was only 18 years old. He found the wreck of the Georgiana 102 years to the day that it sank. He was 18. It was only 3/4 of a mile off the coast of South Carolina, and it was only in 14 feet deep water. How they missed this thing for 100 years is beyond me. I mean, it was right there. That guy found it. They still haven't found any gold. The SS Georgiana, sunk in 1863, found in 1965. This is the 58th anniversary of one of the most historic collegiate athletic events ever. Texas Western, now the University of Texas at El Paso, wins the NCAA men's basketball tournament. They defeat Kentucky in Maryland, and they did it with an all-black starting lineup, the first team ever to start 5 African Americans. The Kentucky Wildcats, coached by Adolph Rupp, the entire team, not just the starting 5, the entire team was all white. And people thought, okay, maybe we should do something about that. Texas Western wins the national championship 58 years ago today. And happy birthday to C-SPAN. March 19th, Monday, it was a Monday, March 19th, 1979, 45 years ago today, the United States House of Representatives begins broadcasting its day-to-day business via C-SPAN. Only about 3 million households got C-SPAN back in those days, and eventually, of course, spread out. In October of 1977, a year and a half before, the House said, okay, televise it. We'll allow television cameras in the chambers, but only if the cameras are operated by employees of the House of Representatives. So when C-SPAN finally went on the air on this date in 1979, Tip O'Neill was the Speaker of the House. The Democrats controlled the House. So he insisted that any time a Democrat was addressing the House of Representatives, they have a nice close-up shot right about here, nice close shot of the Speaker. But whenever a Republican spoke, he insisted that they pan way out so the people could see that the Republican was speaking to an empty chamber. Tip O'Neill said, hey, when you get to control the chamber, you can do the cameras. And that's exactly what they did. Happy birthday to C-SPAN. Birthdays. One of the giants of American 20th century history, Earl Warren, 14th Chief Justice of the United States, born in the state in 1891, died in 1974. Every significant Supreme Court decision he had a hand in. He wasn't a great legal jurist, but he knew how to lead a court. And outside of John Marshall, was probably the greatest Chief Justice ever. He was born in the state in 1891. Poor Glenn Close. She's 77 years old today. She's been nominated for 8 Academy Awards, 8 of them. Has never won one. She's tied with Peter O'Toole for the most nominations without actually winning an Academy Award. She's 77 years old today. Bruce Willis, best wishes to Bruce. Of course, he's battling some significant health issues. Bruce Willis is 69 years old today. And one of the best pitchers in baseball, Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers, is 36 years old today. He's really good. I'm glad I don't have to face him. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor, Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. Thanks to our sponsor, Pool to Spa Services on Worthen Street, not far from the Pybus Public Market. Drop by and say hi to them. And Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista. The vernal equinox is today. Tonight, specifically, Bonnie Orr, the do's and don'ts of spring gardening. When we come back, you're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
Headaches, neck or back pain? Been injured in a car accident, a work injury, or fall? Studies show that whiplash causes pain year after year. Your neck is supposed to be curved and acts like a spring to absorb shock. But when it's damaged, it straightens or reverses, and this causes headaches and pain. The solution is our specialized comprehensive combination care. You need our team of professionals who will address every point of your injury with very specific equipment and skill. Stop by Wenatchee or Leavenworth for a free consultation.
Hey, welcome back to Save Mart. What can we help you find today?
We're looking for a mattress.
Oh, right this way. We got a large selection. We have this pillow top here.
Oh, comfortable.
We have more to choose from down here.
Oh.
I think I have the perfect one over here for you.
I guess we'll take this one.
You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
This is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. So when the state government wants to change the rules about unspent used gift cards, did you hear about that? They want the companies who have been now keeping the money on unused gift cards to surrender that money to the state as unclaimed property. Well, I do think some changes need to be made to ensure you and I are compensated or advised that we have an outstanding credit on a gift card. I mean, But I don't see any reason for the government to get the excess. I mean, how many of our pockets do the politicians want to stick their hands in? Sheesh. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
The Honda you want is here. Drive in the moment with the rugged and capable Ridgeline, Passport, and Pilot. Find your adventure with great offers now available on the Honda you want. All from the 2023 Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Value brand. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
Equinoxes and solstices, you can't avoid them. This year, the vernal equinox is on Tuesday the 19th at 8:06 in the evening, and that means spring will officially be here. And what do we do 4 times a year on the equinoxes and the solstices? We visit with our friend Bonnie Orr to talk about what you need to know about gardening for the spring and summer and fall, for that matter, of 2024. Hello, Bonnie.
Hello, hello.
Bring me, oh yeah, here we go. Thank you. Now, normally I would eat this, but it's a faux pas to eat food.
Well, while you're trying to do this.
And especially a carrot.
Talk, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, that's from my winter garden.
Thank you. It will find a home in my tummy within the next couple of hours.
They're so wonderfully
I
sweet.
guarantee you. Thank you very much. We always begin our conversation with recapping the winter that was in 2023, 2024. I have the newsletter right here from the National Weather Service. As a whole, it was slightly warmer and slightly wetter than normal, but that's kind of an anomaly, Bonnie. Let me get to it real quick. We had one of the warmest Decembers ever, the 7th warmest December on record. And then January went the exact opposite. We had a bunch of snow over a couple of days. We had 14 inches of snow in January alone. And we had 5 consecutive days in the middle of the month where we set record low temperatures for those 5 consecutive days. And then February was kind of normal.
Right.
So
we were drier. I think. Yeah.
So we did a complete yo-yo.
Yeah.
Warm December, cold and snowy January, and then February was just kind of there. What does that mean to you, and what did that do to our garden?
Well, you know, that cold, there are, the roses really took it, and a whole bunch of other plants probably also have been damaged. I'm looking at this honeysuckle over here, and there's really quite a bit of dead material. And it's dry, okay? So I think that we're going to have to do some very careful looking at our garden to see what's happening.
Well, let's talk about roses right off the top. How do you know your roses had a bad spring, a bad winter?
Because the canes are dead.
Okay.
Do you remember years ago when we had that, where everything froze to the ground? But the canes here at this garden, this is the reason why you only trim them to the knee, because if you trimmed them all the way down like they do on the other side, you'd have nothing. Yeah, yeah.
So a warmer than normal December, a cold and snowy January. February was just kind of came and went, was kind of average. And now they are predicting, and they do this with a great deal of accuracy, a warmer than normal spring and a slightly drier than normal spring. In fact, this spring this year could be very, very warm and very dry.
Which means that you want to leave your mulch on for as long as possible, or else apply mulch if you don't have any. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the mulch going to dry out real quick? Because it has to have a little bit of moisture, doesn't it?
Well, no. The mulch will sort of pack down a little bit,
Okay.
but it's important to maintain the soil moisture. And how else can you do that?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
If you're in it tidy, it's not going to work.
So again, the outlook for spring is warmer than normal and drier than normal. So El Nino is waning and La Nina may be coming our way. That's not really what we want.
Right.
Are the days of normal highs and lows that we remember from the 70s and 80s and into the early 90s, are they gone?
Well, yeah, but then you think about the normal from the 1920s and 40s. I mean, when they had truly massive cold and massive snow, that was normal. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? You know, the weather is what it is, and we can do nothing about it.
Nope.
And complaining isn't going to work at all. It just annoys me. I'm going, excuse me, you know.
Last year, I think I remember I told you, I thatched my yard for the first time ever. I've been living there since November of 2017. I never thatched the yard. I thatched the yard. I couldn't believe how much twigs and dead grass that was keeping the moisture, the water from penetrating the soil that I dug up. It was incredible. It was a bunch of garbage bags, and the yard went fabulously happy after that.
Okay, they are not, it's not dead grass, it's dead roots.
Right.
Okay, because the grass is 90% water. But it makes a major difference on getting water down to the roots. And if you have more than an inch of thatch, it's going to prevent the roots from getting moisture. That's one of the things you need to do now, okay, is thatching. And the other thing is this week for sure getting down the pre-emergence. The pre-emergent herbicides for crabgrass, because crabgrass was really extensive last year because people had a hard time getting it down. So what happens is you put this pre-emergent herbicide down, and if you put it down, okay, so what happens is that the crabgrass seed germinates and then is immediately killed by this herbicide. If you put it down too late, what happens is the plant continues to grow and goes, oh, okay, off I go, okay? So that has to be gotten. The other really big lawn thing was spotted spurge and purslane. Those, there are pre-emergence for those, but those do not germinate until the soil is about 65 or 70. And so you need to put those down, well, probably in the middle of April, since it's going to be warmer. We know that it's time to put down the pre-emergent for crabgrass when the forsythia blooms, which is that yellow bush by the high school, or the redbud tree. Okay? So when that first starts to come out, the redbud, that's the other evidence that the ground is 50 degrees.
Do I need to thatch every year?
No.
You don't?
Thatch is a man-made problem.
Okay.
And I'm going to stress the man-made.
Life is a man-made problem for that matter. So
but what it is that thatch is caused by incorrect watering and too much fertilizer.
So you don't have to thatch every year, but you still need to thatch every third or fourth.
Fifth year, maybe.
What if you have, like, say, a lot of trees and your yard gets more shade? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
You mentioned that the roses had a bad year. You still got to go out there and take care of them.
Yeah, what you do is you cut them before the leaves come out. This would be a good week to go out. It's going to be sunny. It'll be nice. Yeah.
We're here at the demonstration garden. If anybody knows how to take care of roses, it's these folks.
Right.
Can you come out here and figure out how it's done?
Yes, and on March 16th, they're going to have a demonstration on how to prune them.
Okay. Cool.
So that'll be good.
And if not, you can just watch an old episode of Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees.
There we go.
Online.
Because we did lots of that.
So, let's talk fruit trees.
Okay, the law requires that apples and cherries have to be done. If you don't know what to do, or if you've just bought a house that has those trees, the Master Gardeners can help you. Okay, Master Gardeners will have, starting April 3rd, in-person clinics. And you can go to chelanmastergardeners@gmail.com. You can go there and ask questions, and we can send you the spray schedules. But it is required.
Most people, I think, have been getting rid of those, right? I mean, there were houses that would have one apple tree or one cherry tree just to have, but if you don't maintain it, you're just inviting trouble for the commercial orchardists.
Oh yes, and we hear horror stories.
Yeah.
We really do.
So when in doubt, cut it down.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
really...
The chainsaw is your best friend.
For one thing, you got to pick when the fruit gets
300 pounds of apples.
What are you going to do with them? Right, exactly, exactly. Mulching for heat, veggie and flowers.
Important.
Yeah.
Important. Okay, ground up leaves. Okay, there's still leaves. They haven't all blown away yet. So I would be saving those leaves, grind them up with the lawnmower, and spread them out on your flower beds. It's way too early to start your vegetable garden. Okay, the thing is that people plant things just because it's sunny, and I'm going to bet you anything we're going to find people out this week,
absolutely,
planting their gardens.
Way too early.
Okay, so the root, when the ground is cold, the roots really suffer, and the roots are what make the plant go. And when the leaves start to turn purple, you'll know that it actually is too cold. The soil needs to be a minimum of 60 for a tomato, and if you're going to plant beans or corn, the soil has to be a minimum of 70. And the past few years, well, and we have had cold springs, it's been the end of May before we reach those temperatures. If you have a little digital thermometer, it's a great thing to push it down 8 inches to see how warm the soil is. Otherwise, you'll be replanting beans, replanting corn, and your tomatoes will sit there and go like this.
Yeah, is it me, or has it been quite a number of years since we had a really good tomato year? I have a lot of friends who grow tomatoes, and they said the last couple of years just has been tough.
Well, one of the things that's happened this last year is our nights got cold in August. Our nights got in the 50s in August. Finished off my figs, I'll have to tell you, but also the tomatoes don't ripen as well. So, yeah.
They're temperamental, aren't they?
They are. Their range is 60 to 85.
And that's not very much.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not very much at all.
It's not very much.
So tomato seeds don't start them until March 30th,
right.
if that.
Well, yeah, if we're going to have it warmer, but you plant out in about 6 weeks. And if you go more than 6 weeks, they just get too gangly and they never recover. Mm-hmm. Okay, never recover. So.
You mentioned last year we had the most frost-free days ever.
I know, isn't that just amazing? 198 frost-free days.
That is 25 more, rough, I'm guessing, more than we would normally have.
I think it's normally 175, 179.
So that's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, but it didn't do us any good because the nights got cold in August. So those things, for harvesting and everything. But, I think that instead of running out and planting your garden prematurely, because the big box stores are going to have plants for you, but that's because the big box stores' offices are on the other side of the mountains,
right.
I think that rather than going crazy and planting, you should go for a hike.
There you go. That makes complete sense. Nobody likes to weed. It's one of those chores, it's got to get done. But if you stay ahead of it, it's really not a problem.
This is the time to weed. I only weed once a year. Mm-hmm. And I weed, and then I put down mulch, and that's it. And you really can keep ahead of it.
If you have a strong, healthy, dense lawn, the weeds never have a chance to get going because they get choked off.
You will not, and so most of the people who are having problems with spotted spurge or purslane it's because their lawns are weak in particular places. And more fertilizer is not going to make it grow better. It's a matter of watering correctly. And again, the master gardeners are here at the community education garden. There's always events on the 3rd Saturdays, and you can ask master gardeners about correct watering practice.
People out there who never bothered to rake up their leaves and their twigs in the autumn. The leaves came and they got lazy and they watched football, and then the snow came. And it was like, oh crap, I didn't rake my leaves. What do they need to know?
Well, they're going to use those leaves for mulch right now.
Okay.
Okay. We had so little snow, actually, that I don't think anyone's going to have snow mold.
Okay.
Okay, which is a fungus which the grass grows out of. I don't think there's going to be any problems.
We had a little bit of snow in December, about 4 inches, but it also melted very quickly because it was so warm. Then we had 2 days of very heavy snow in January, followed by bitterly cold. But then the snow took its sweet time melting away, and that means something, doesn't it?
Well, yes, because essentially the water evaporated rather than soaking into the ground.
So if you think we had 14 inches of snow and it all went into the ground, it didn't. So.
Okay, but also 14 inches of snow is only 1.4 inches of water if you're lucky.
Exactly.
Depending on.
And does the water content of the snow play a significant role? Heavy, wet snow as opposed to dry, powdery snow? Does that really mean anything?
I think dry, powdery tends to evaporate more rapidly.
Okay.
Okay. I can't tell you that for sure.
Okay.
That would be my sense.
Yeah. Well, I trust you.
That would be my sense.
You have any number of events coming up. Let's talk about that.
Okay. So there are many things to do. Arbor Day, first of all. Arbor Day is April 13th in Cashmere, Entiat, Wenatchee at Pybus, and East Wenatchee City Hall, Cashmere, Martin's Marketplace, and Entiat at the City Hall. Mm-hmm. And there are 4 species this year, and again, they've been chosen for drought tolerance and appropriate things.
Who makes those decisions, by the way?
A committee of the Greater Arbor Day, Wenatchee Arbor Day group.
And every year it's a little bit different.
Yeah, because there's different people that make decisions, and very careful thought goes into it.
Oh, I bet it does.
Yeah. yeah.
I talked to Lyle last year. He walked me through the whole thing.
Right.
The Pybus market was teeming with people. It helped that it was a beautiful day.
And also it was Sustainable Wenatchee that we hooked on with them.
That was a great event.
Yes.
That was. So what do people know if they want to participate in Arbor Day again? On April 30th is a Saturday, right?
Yeah, from 9 to 12.
Okay. Pybus Public Market is in the Wenatchee location. They'll have it at the East Wenatchee City Hall, at Martin's Marketplace in Cashmere, and the City Hall in Aniat. What do folks need to know if they say, I'm coming and I'm getting some stuff?
They need to offer us a donation of $5 because that's what it cost us to buy the plants, and they need to bring a bag.
So bring $10 so you have a little kitty.
Yeah, we can have a kitty too. Yes,
yeah, absolutely,
yes.
like that.
And then the master gardeners always grow fabulous plants. In fact, they are starting them this week. Okay, so like the peppers, things that take a little bit longer to grow, and that they're going to start the tomatoes on the 30th of March, and the sale is on the last Saturday of April, which is
April
the 27th.
Yep.
Okay, and it I do not know the location.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Right, we'll find out.
Okay, because it's going to be changed.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the third Saturday of each month, you have a little wing ding.
There's always a little wing ding. There's people here. There's people to answer questions. There's a presentation of some kind. So
we're at the demonstration garden, as we mentioned at the beginning of it. This is just a great, because if it exists and it grows and it is designed to grow here in this area, it doesn't matter what it is. It's here somewhere. This is a cornucopia, a microcosm of pretty much anything you can do.
You know, and one of the other things with that is that if you see plants that you are particularly attracted to in somebody else's yard, you know, as you're walking along the street, you can take a picture and bring us the picture. We can identify the plant if you don't do it on, you know, one of the automatic things on your camera. But we can also tell you about the growing conditions for it. Yeah.
And one last little piece of advice, especially for you folks who bought a home on a new lot that used to be an orchard, and we do this every year. Say you bought your house in October and November. You didn't really have to worry about landscaping or planting anything as you were transitioning from autumn to winter. And this is your first year or first spring in your brand new house that's never had a garden or a lawn. Let's talk about soil testing.
Well, okay, there's several reasons for soil testing. One is if it was in an orchard that was started before 1948, okay, you would have to be concerned about lead and arsenate. But after that, no. There also is a website that you can go to on soil, okay, where soil contamination, and it will tell you exactly. You put your address in, and it'll tell you exactly, okay, what your soil is like. But I want to talk about soil testing, period, because people buy bags and bags of fertilizer, okay? And then, and it's amazing how many times people have a soil test done, and they bring us the results and say, what does this mean? It's almost always excess nitrogen and excess phosphorus, because they've been buying expensive bags of fertilizer and their soil does not need it. If your soil doesn't need it, what happens is it gets washed into the groundwater. Not a good thing.
No.
The other thing is, if you put down fertilizer too soon, what's going to happen is that if nothing is growing, it cannot be taken up. So again, the product washes away. Okay? So timely use of fertilizers is important.
Absolutely.
But soil test, there's all sorts of companies, and you just send in a couple of cups of soil, and then they tell you about it. It is well worth the money.
Absolutely.
Rather than overdoing your soil.
And one last little piece of advice that Bonnie has taught us all over the years, wherever it is that you plant something, if you're working with a blank slate, it's going to grow. You have to keep that in mind. I mean, arborvitaes have their place, but you want to be careful where you're going to put them, because
that's right. The right tree in the right place, utility lines, all those other wonderful things. Yep. Yeah. You know, it's if you have just bought a house that somebody else has landscaped, I always like to suggest you wait for 1 full year just to see what grows, and also your light pattern, where you don't know where your shade is or where your light is. And so figuring those things out will make you a much happier gardener than just going in and doing. This is a great time to go hiking. You know, yeah, you know, that first year you live in the house because you don't even know what's there.
Bonnie's point is well taken. I've told this story before, but when I bought my first house in November of 1991, it was November of 1991. I had no idea I had tulips. You know, I found out in April that I had tulips and a lot of them. It was a pleasant surprise, but I did that. I took your advice. I didn't do anything for a year, and then I figured out what was going on.
Well, you know, it was something that was really interesting is that I know of a family that bought a house that it was an older house, and they were so excited, and they decided they were going to have minimal landscape. Mm-hmm. So they covered everything with landscape fabric and with bark. Well, the next spring, there's all these pops because there are about 10,000 bulbs. And the bulbs are going to grow no matter what. I mean, it was just a mess.
Bonnie, it's always great to see you. Once I want to recap the events coming up. The Arbor Day is April 13th. Again, all over the place. And we're going to be, as we get closer to that, we'll let you know more about that as we get going. Master Gardener's Plant Sale is on April 27th. The in-person clinics begin on April 3rd, or there is an in-person clinic on April 3rd, and every third Saturday here at the demonstration garden. If you want to learn more, come here and learn more.
And you can also email us at chelanmastergardeners@gmail.com.
Yep. And take a picture. Take a picture.
Take pictures and
Absolutely.
Send us pictures.
Mark Kulas sends his love.
Good.
And it was good to see everybody at the KPQ Home Expo. Looks like everybody had a good time.
Yeah, it looks like that. Yeah, we were busy.
Yeah, that's good. We like that.
Yeah, that
I like
was
that.
good.
Bonnie, everybody, give her a hand. Thank you for the carrot. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and we will be right back. When your heating or cooling system is giving you trouble, call the Diagnostic Doctor from Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Here's the culprit right here.
All joking aside, when you call Dick's, you're calling 35 years of experience at customer service right here in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's strongly believes in repairing before replacing, and they service all major brands of HVAC units.
Your home runs on hot water. From the kitchen, to the bath, to the laundry. So Rheem offers a wide variety of water heaters from traditional models to ones smart enough to tell you how much hot water is available. On second thought, perhaps the laundry can wait.
Just a couple of high clouds, and we're at 43 degrees. We almost set a record high on Saturday. We did set a record high on Sunday. We tied a record high yesterday. We're going to set a record high temperature today. And the hits just keep on coming. One more time from the National Weather Service, here's your forecast. How's 73 sound on a day where the normal high is supposed to be 53? If we get to 73, that would be a record high. The record on this date is 68 degrees. That was set back in 1999, so that looks like it's within our wheelhouse. Clear tonight, 44 for the overnight low, close to a record high, but we're probably not going to get it because the clouds will be increasing throughout the day on Wednesday. In fact, by the time Wednesday is over, by the time the sun goes down about 7:15 tomorrow, it'll be fairly cloudy, and we'll get up to 68, close to a record high, but probably won't get there. A little breezy Wednesday night into Thursday. Sunshine returns, but we cool down a lot on Thursday, and best chance of actual measurable rain Saturday, especially Saturday morning, and temperatures will be back down to where they should be. So one more day of sunny and warm temperatures, still warm, but a little cloudier on Wednesday, and then we go back to typical spring by the weekend. And that's it for us. Have a great Tuesday. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Coming up on Small Town Big Deal.
Don't you need one of these?
I have one.
Luke, I am your father.
One of the world's longest yard sales.
400 miles, 3 days, and one objective.
Now this is my kind of yard sale. Look what I got.
Hit the road with us as we crisscross Kentucky in search of deals, but find more than we bargained for.
No!